Welcome to the Thriving Mindfully podcast. You are about to enter into a podcast experience that is more than just a podcast. It's a movement, y'all. It's a movement. It's a movement that is inspiring and empowering you to be present, well, and the real you. And so before you dive deep into this podcast, I invite you to open your heart, open your ears. If you believe in the third eye, open that third eye and tune into these words in this poem, Thriving Mindfully. Spirit is moving through me with an intense creativity. It's pouring forth. There's so much. It's overflowing. And it's coming from inside me and in the midst of community. It's reminding me of the sacred gift of communing with myself, you, and how we are connected to each other. Being in the body, being in the breath, being present as fuck to it all. The sunshine, the rain, the light, the darkness, the joy, the pain, the all of it all, and not knowing what will come next. So I find shelter in my heart. I find shelter in my community. That's you, that's me, that's we, that's us. The places that bring me back to the practice of being present, being well, being the real me. That practice that allows me to tap into my birthrights of mindfulness, self-care, self-worth, self-love, and so much more. That practice that allows me to be connected to you and you to me so that we become us in community. We breathe in and we breathe out. And together we're being present in our bodies, present in our breath, making it possible for all of us to be, feel, think, speak, and show up vulnerably in the now as we damn well please. We are co-creators of sacred space, offering each other the gift of our presence, listening, sharing, learning, growing, individually and collectively, as we move about Mother Earth at our own pace, thriving mindfully with gratitude and grace. Welcome to the Thriving Mindfully podcast. My name is Ananda Leeke, and I am happy to be your hostess with the mostest in mindfulness, self-care, wellness, creativity, and more. Tune into the conversations that I'm having with people just like you and the conversations that I'm having with myself about being present, well, and the real us. Tune in. On July 9th, 2023 at 6:46 p.m., I witnessed my mother make her transition from a woman in the physical world to a loving, wise, and well ancestor. I am grateful that I had the gift of being present and to serve as her spiritual midwife from this life to the next. And in having that privilege and being Theresa B. Gartin Leeke's daughter, I have found myself in a cocoon of grief with grace and gratitude. And this is new to me. This is a very new experience, and learning to take care of myself with the grief as sacred medicine for the loss of my mom in the physical realm has just been eye-opening. It's broken my heart all the way open. And I wanted to use this podcast as a platform, one of the platforms for sharing my journey, because I know that loss and grief are a part of everybody's life. And how we navigate that goes back to how we take care of ourselves. And for me, self-care is one of the most important birthrights that we get. And being mindful with that birthright of mindfulness of how we're showing up, what we need, being mindful of what we need to take care of ourselves as we move into periods of grief and loss, whether it's the loss of a loved one like my mom, the loss of a career, a job, finances, a home, friendships, a relationship, a romantic relationship, a partnership, any form of loss of something with your well-being, with your health, the loss of your lifestyle from how you lived before the global pandemic began to how you're living now. There's so many different losses that we experience. There's so many different things that happen in our life that cause us to grieve, that I said, hey, I'm going to share my journey and what I'm learning so far along the way. And so one of the things that I've gotten in my divine downloads and time and prayer and meditation, and when I'm doing Reiki and going into the Akashic records and speaking with spirit and my loving, wise, and well ancestors, including my mom, is this understanding that grief really is a sacred medicine for life's losses. And if you know me and you've been listening to the Thriving Mindfully podcast, or you followed me on social media, or been to any of my Thriving Mindfully Academy events in person or online, or work with me in a coaching relationship, or have attended a training that I facilitated, you know that I love acronyms. And Spirit and the loving, wise, and well ancestors, they speak to me through acronyms. And so for me, one of the acronyms that I've been using in navigating this place that I find myself in, I call it a cocoon of grief, and I'm using grace and gratitude to move through, is one that begins with grief and looking at it as the G, giving yourself grace. The R is relief, which is using self-care practices, finding yourself in safe space around people that you can trust, and having sacred moments, going to sacred places. The I is inhale your birthrights of mindfulness and self-care and self-love. The E is exhale what's getting in your way of you freeing yourself. That's the F, freeing yourself with loving kindness, compassion, non-judgment, patience, and forgiveness. So I'm going to run that back through. So grief is this, for me, is this sacred medicine for life's losses. And I'm looking at grief through the lens of an acronym that is grief. It's the word grief. G is give yourself grace. The R is relief. Relief in the form of self-care. That's your spiritual and self-care practices. It's any safe space that you can get to or have. Any sacred moments or people or places that allow you to feel safe to be vulnerable, so that you can, inhale your birthrights of mindfulness, self-care, and self-love. And then the E is exhale what's getting in your way of allowing yourself to free yourself with loving kindness, compassion, non-judgment, patience, and forgiveness. And I am really starting to see and to unpack my own stories and beliefs and attitudes and thoughts about grief that have been tied up in what society or religion or ancestors or family or friends have said grief is. And I'm really taking this time to own my own way of grieving, because guess what? Nobody can tell you how to grieve, how long to grieve, what to grieve for. You are the sole person who can define what your grief is, who can decide how you're going to take care of yourself as you grieve and how long it is. There's no time limit on it. That's what I'm understanding. And we have to be able to give ourselves that space, that sacred space to just unravel, to be vulnerable, to grieve unapologetically, and to do it by giving ourselves grace and to take care of ourselves as we do that. And then to inhale our birthrights of mindfulness. That's the awareness, the birthright of self-care, doing what you need to do, bringing what you need into your life, whether it's a spiritual or sacred practice, it's a safe and sacred space, sacred moments, people, places, whatever you have to do to surround yourself so that you can feel some relief. Exhaling, that's the E. Exhaling what's getting in your way of you being free enough to give yourself this loving kindness with compassion, non-judgment, patience, and forgiveness. Yeah, it's so much. It's so much. And I just really wanted to start having a conversation with you about self-care and grief. And I got to tell you, some of the ways that I've been taking care of myself since my mom made her transition on July 9th is one, spending time at my dad's house, spending time at the house that they share together. And I'm helping him, but it's helping me, I think, more because I get to sleep in a bed that my mom slept in, and one of the beds that she slept in. I get to sleep in the room where she decorated. I get to be among her things and to go through her things, and to see pictures and to eat on plates and dishes that she was able to do, and to just soak her up. Her energy is with me, her spirit is with me at all times, but to be in the physical place where she last resided, that has been so helpful. The other thing that has been helpful too is to move my body, to make sure that when I wake up that I do some form of movement. It's yin yoga, mostly in the bed and on the mat. I'm starting to get back into my core workout with my strengthening and my flexibility with the yoga on the mat and with walking, and then also with my bar 3 classes. That movement helps me move the stuff out of my system, because grief gets stuck in the body. I can feel it. There's a heaviness. And so using movement and allowing myself to cry. I intentionally do a lot of heart and hip openers on the yoga mat and in my bed, so that my hips, when you do hip and heart openers, you're opening up the emotions. And I just want to keep a clear flow for my emotions to come out when they come out. I have been using the support of a therapist in my life for a number of years now, consistently, probably since the pandemic began. And having that support each month has been invaluable. I'm also using crystals. One crystal in particular that I have fallen in love with, the energy from the crystal, it's called, let me think for a second, just as I'm trying to think about it. it's rhodonite. It's a really beautiful pink and black stone, and it's great for opening up your heart and allowing the emotions to come forth, especially with loss and grief and any heartache. It is connected to the heart chakra. And so I'm finding that my ability to be kinder and gentler and softer, you hear me say soft as fuck with myself, is really a need for me. So I'm using the gemstone rhodonite. I have both a bracelet and I have a stone, a heart stone, that I place on my heart at times, or I hold, or I keep it in my pocket to remind myself to be kind and gentle, to take my time in this process, to give myself the space and the time to grieve the way that I want. I'm also using my sound healing bowls and rituals. One of the things that I did do on the 40th day of my mother passing is I gave myself space to create an altar in my kitchen with my mom's picture and a candle and the program from her celebration of life and a few other things, few other pictures and things and gemstones. And on that day, I burnt a white candle for most of the day. At the end of that day, which was August the 18th, I dressed myself in white and I laid a white blanket down on the floor in my studio / living room. And I brought all my crystal bowls down, my koshi chimes, my ocean drum, my gong, my journal, and some writings and the last card that I gave my mother. And I played the drums, the ocean drum, played the crystal bowls, I said prayers, I read poetry to honor my mother's 40th day of ancestral ascension. She ascended on the 40th day to full ancestorhood as a loving, wise, and well ancestor. I've also been working with a ancestral medicine coach, and I started working with Jamari Michael White of Soul Stewards in October of 2022 to heal my ancestral lineage. And we spent the last year looking at what needs to be healed on my mother and father's side. And right before my mom passed, maybe a few weeks before my mom passed, I had started to do the healing work on her lineage. And when she passed, because I had completed the healing on her mother's side, I knew as she was passing that she was passing into loving, wise, and well ancestorhood because of the work that I was able to do with Jamari. And I felt that. And I've connected with her, and I know that to be true in my spirit. That work with the ancestral medicine or healing coach Jamari Michael White has helped me use my creativity in my drawing and in my wire sculpture to support my practice of releasing the grief, in particular the drawing. I'm telling you, between my sketchbook and my notebook, my journal, I have been able to draw my emotions, the visions that I have, to write the divine downloads, the poetry, all of that. Another thing that I've been able to do that helped, as soon as my mom went into the hospital on July 1st, I started eating as clean as I could. And so for me, that was primarily a vegan, vegetarian diet. I have had some seafood in between now and then, but I'm back to eating a vegan diet, and that allowed me to clean myself out and to drink plenty of water. That has helped. I've also been using blue lotus tea to sleep, and as of late, I started using ashwagandha, which is another herb that really helps me calm things down right before I go to bed. I take that before I go to bed now, and I wake up with much more energy, much more strength and resolve. I've been reading a number of books as well to help navigate this journey. Reading has always been a great resource for me, and I'll share those books in another podcast, but I really wanted to just give you some ideas about how I have been using this new chapter of my life and what I've been doing to navigate it. I've used my Instagram account as a way to just release and share my journey. That's been very healing for me. Karaoke is my newfound release. Oh my gosh. Singing songs that I love, singing some songs that remind me of my mom. Just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful way to let it all out. Going and spending time by the water is another release for me. That is just incredible. Walking by the water. One other release that I was able to do, and it was really, really juicy and scary and juicy, was completing a music project. I had a chance to travel to London, and that was a beautiful trip that I had scheduled prior to my mom making her transition. But going to London and being surrounded by my sacred family there. Shout out to my homeboy, soul brother love, BFF, music producer Garnet, one of the core people in my soul family. I was able to spend a week there and rest, share, cry, draw, write, see my coach and my fellow soul sister love artist Marilyn Fontaine, see other folks, check out culture, hang out with my soul brother love HKB Finn, take in the celebration of the Windrush, the 75th anniversary of the Windrush, a community that came from the West Indies, and just eat good food and just be. And while I was in London, I also completed a special music project with the support of my music producer and BFF and soul brother love, soul brother from the Divine Mother Garnet Jackson, of Footprint Productions. We have been working on a project for 3 years. It's my first spoken word album, Thriving Mindfully as Theresa's Daughter. And we were in the studio on a rainy day getting that project done. And I'm looking forward to sharing it. But that was huge because a number of the pieces that I shared on the album were relating to my mom's passing and also the impact of my mother in my life. So that was beautiful. Talking about my mom to friends and calling out her name every day and speaking to her spirit every day has been helpful. This year I learned how to access the Akashic Records, and so spending time in the Akashic Records before my mom even passed, and now has been very comforting to me, very healing. Listening to music, especially gospel music, because my mother was a musician, a gospel musician, and the choir director. So singing the songs, wearing some of her clothing, like we're in the same sorority, Sigma Gamma Rho sorority, so wearing her Sigma Gamma Rho socks and t-shirts and scarves, and using her Sigma Gamma Rho luggage, allowing myself to grieve in the way that works best for me. So that is a little bit about me taking care of myself, practicing mindful self-care, practicing this birthright of mindfulness that we all have, being aware of where I am emotionally and what I need in terms of my self-care, and then giving myself the grace and the space to take the time. That's what's been going on with me. And so I wanted to just begin this conversation to get you thinking about what you may need to do to take care of yourself. If you're experiencing a loss, if you're called to grieve something or someone. So that's what I have for you today. I want to thank you for being here and joining me in this journey on Thriving Mindfully. Stay tuned for more offerings and invitations and messages of what's coming up in the coming months. Peace. Did you know that mindful self-care is your birthright and your superpower for being the real you and serving others in your life, relationships, and career? You get 1,440 minutes each day. You are worth 45 minutes of mindful self-care twice a month. That's right. I want you to commit to 45 minutes of mindful self-care twice a month with my support during the Thriving Mindfully Academy's mindful self-care classes that are offered on the 2nd and the 4th Mondays of each month. Join me on September 11th, 25th, October 9th, 23rd, November 13th, and 27th, and the last class is December 11th from 8 to 8:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time via Zoom. Go to AnandaLeeke.com/movement to get your ticket. Register now, and I'll see you in the monthly Thriving Mindfully Academy's Mindful Self-Care class. See you then. Bye. I'm super excited to offer the Soft as Fuck Sunday series in DC. That's right. If you're in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area on September 24th or December 10th, join me for an amazing afternoon of meditation, journaling, intention setting, drawing, community sharing with a sound bath meditation, moon and seasonal wisdom, and me holding sacred space for you to connect with the autumn equinox on September 24th from 2 to 3 p.m. and to prepare for the winter solstice on December 10th from 2 to 3 p.m. All of these classes will be held at Key Kratom CBDT, 1517 U Street Northwest in DC. You can go to AnandaLeeke.com/soft to get your tickets for $23. I'll see you at Soft as Fuck Sundays. Bye. One of the ways that I've been able to prepare myself and to take action from a grounded place in my body, in my breath, in my life, is through human design. Human design is an amazing self-empowerment, and it's IN-POWERMENT, empowerment, because it's from the inside out. It's a self-empowerment and self-discovery tool that was introduced to me in 2021 through a coaching experience. And over the past 2 years, I have experimented with it and integrated it into my life, my relationships, and my career and my business. And it is a lifelong journey. It's a lifelong experiment. I am now bringing it into a space where I'm offering it to folks like you to support you in preparing yourself and taking action in your life, your relationships, and your career and business. It marries my Thriving Mindfully, heart-centered approach to being present well in the real you. And I use it with my coaching clients. I use it with the Thriving Mindfully Academy members. And now I want to invite you to explore it with me as your human design doula. In human design, you are called to give birth, if you will, to yourself, the real you. And we do that every single day. We do it every single moment. We get 1,440 minutes each and every day. And in each minute, you're birthing yourself. I mean, you're always changing. You're always growing. And so in order to navigate that process, I'm here acting as a doula, someone who can midwife you through this experience, help you understand what human design is based on where you are in your life, help you take the parts of human design that resonate with you the most, because at different times, different things resonate with us, and help you understand it, help you see how you can use it as a tool to connect with your own body's awareness and wisdom. If you're interested, I want to invite you to visit my website. Go to anandaleeke.com/human design to learn more about how we can work together. I offer 2 types of readings. There's a basic reading, and then there's a more advanced reading once you have an understanding of human design. Check it out. There's also a video that walks you through my own human design experience and gives you some basic information about human design. There are other podcast episodes for the Thriving Mindfully podcast that you can check out. Just go to anandaleeke.com/podcast, or wherever you find this podcast, you can look and see in the archive the human design episodes. So I look forward to connecting with you more about human design. If you're looking for ways to inspire and empower yourself to be present well in the real you, and you want to take advantage of some of the things that I use, check out my Amazon store. Go to amazon.com/shop/Ananda Leeke, and there you'll find the Thriving Mindfully store, which is filled with recommendations on things that I have used in my own life, relationships, and career to be present well in the real me. Check out my 3 mindfulness books, my yoga and self-love inspired novel, Love's Troubadours, my mindful creativity memoir, That Which Awakens Me, and my mindful technology memoir, Digital Sisterhood. In addition to various books, various products, essential oils, crystals, wisdom card decks, all kinds of things that I've used in my own life and spiritual and self-care practices to be who I am today, including the sound bowls that I use, the koshi chimes, the ocean drum, you name it, it's there. Check it out. Thank you for patronizing me on Amazon. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to the Thriving Mindfully podcast. If you're ready to be inspired and empowered with my coaching support, join me in the Thriving Mindfully Academy. Visit anandaleeke.com/academy. Now, if you're ready to dive deeper and move past your comfort zone with my one-on-one coaching program, book a discovery call with me today. Visit anandaleeke.com. If you need something juicy to read, check out my 3 mindfulness books, Love's Troubadours, a self-love and yoga-inspired novel, That Which Awakens Me, a mindful creativity memoir, and Digital Sisterhood, a mindful technology memoir. Go to anandaleeke.com/books. All of my books are available on Amazon.com. Well, that about wraps us up. And as I always like to say, may we all continue to embrace thriving mindfully in everything that we think, feel, say, and do. See you next time.